everybody, welcome back. And if this is your first time, welcome. My name is Jane. And today what we're going to be doing is learning how to weave paper. The great thing about weaving paper is that it's really easy. The coolest part of it is that you can make it as challenging as you want to make it. So I want to start out by showing you the materials that you're going to be needing today. You're going to be needing some sheets of colored construction paper. You're going to be needing either a marker or a pencil. You're going to be needing a pair of scissors. You will need a glue stick. And optional is a ruler. So again, those are the things that you're going to need: construction paper, Sharpie or pencil, scissors, glue, or ruler. Now, I also want you to remember that if at any time during this video you need to stop it to get materials or because you're working a little slowly, no problem. You can start, you can stop, and you can rewind, whatever you need to do to enjoy and have fun. So a few things about weaving before we get started. I'm sure some of you have seen looms where professional weavers weave things like blankets and wall hangings and fabrics. The only thing you really need to know about that are the long threads, the threads that go down the loom. So that way, that's called the warp. The threads that go across or this way are called the weft. So there's the warp and the weft, and that's all you have to be concerned about today. So the way we're going to start is I have taken my paper and I have cut smaller pieces. So you can see that this piece was cut like that. So it's easy to do. You can simply fold the paper over, crease it, open it up, and then cut along this line. And then you've got your warp. The weft, you're going to cut the other way, going across. And you want the weft to be wider than the width of the warp. I try to say that 5 times fast. So again, these pieces that you're going to cut, you want them to be longer going this way than the width of your backing piece or your warp. Okay, so that's really all you need to know. So I've already gotten started and I've cut a bunch of warps and I've cut a bunch of weft pieces. Now you can cut the weft pieces in any thickness that you want. Depending on the thickness, you're going to get a different kind of weave. So for example, all of these wefts are the same width. This one, however, you can see that my weft pieces are all different widths, as are my warp pieces. But that might be a little bit hard to understand right now. So let's just get started with a really basic one. So here's one that I've started, but I'm going to show you from the beginning what I'm going to do. I'm either going to take a ruler and I'm going to mark going across the top. It's really important with the warp piece that you do not cut strips all the way, that you leave excess. If you don't leave excess, your weaving is going to get all messed up and confusing. So you want to, all I'm doing is putting a line here so I know that I'm not going to cut this. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut going this way up to this line. And that's what I've done here. So I can just show you, I can either measure with a ruler and make straight lines with a ruler, or I can just cut. The other thing you can do, if you want to be more precise, is you can fold it in half. So again, I've got the line on top where I know I'm not going to cut. So I cut it, I fold it in half and crease it, fold it in half and crease it again, and fold that in half and crease it again. And then I open it up, and I can now cut along these lines. And I'm going to stop when I get to the black line. Okay, so I'm going to cut, 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 cut. And cut again. I'm following my folded lines. And these are going to be all the same width. Okay, and once I do this regular one, I'm going to show you how to do some fancier ones. Okay, so now the warp is all cut, but it's not cut on the top. So the first thing I'm going to do now is I am going to fold back every other piece. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of the weft pieces and I'm going to put it down. And what I think I'm going to do, and I think it'll make it a little easier, is I'm going to put a dot of glue on the two end pieces. Now I'm going to put this piece down and I'm going to put it up as far as it'll go. And now it's glued in two spots. Now I'm going to fold this back down. Okay, and now what I'm going to do is the pieces that I didn't fold up last time, I'm going to fold up this time. So I'm going to fold, I'm going to fold, I'm going to fold, and I'm going to fold. And then let's take another piece of paper. So let's try pink. So again, I'm going to put a little dab of glue on the two ends. Let's get all this out of the way. And I'm going to put this piece right next to the last piece. And press it down. Now put these down again. Now on this one, I'm just going to do one more, because I think you get the idea. So now again, I am going to fold the piece I didn't fold up last time. If you get the wrong one, you will notice right away because the weave will not be what it should look like. So I'm gonna do this one correctly. So again, I'm gonna put a piece in. I'm going to glue, put a little dab of glue here and here. Whoops, here and here. I think I didn't put the glue in the right place. Okay. Here, and I'm going to fold everything over. Okay. Now, this is just a regular weave. If I don't do it right, let's say I decide I'm going to fold these up again, you're going to see right away that it isn't right. So let's say I make this mistake. And you can always test it out before you glue it. So let's say now I'm going to put this one in. So I'm going to see immediately that it's not right. That it isn't, that it's not the over, under, over, under. So then I just take this strip out and do it again. Okay, now I'm going to put a little dab, just see if I'm right. Now I'm getting myself confused. I'm gonna put this piece in here. I'm gonna put a little dab of glue here and a little dab of glue here, and I'm gonna fold these back. So now you can see the weaving. Okay, now what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna trim. So I'm gonna trim the pieces on the edge. And I'm gonna trim these as well. And get this excess out of the way. Now what I'm gonna do is glue the edges. And glue these edges. Oops, this one's coming out. And I'm gonna glue all of the edges so that it stays together. And that's how you get the basic weaving. So again, if you wanna do this one, what you're gonna do is the weft piece, the warp pieces, you might cut one skinny one and then one fat one and maybe a really fat one and two skinny ones. And then the weft pieces, again, can be different sizes. So that's how you would do this one. Now we can get a little fancier and we can do one that's kind of zigzag looking. And all that is that I've cut the warp pieces in a zigzag. So let me show you what that looks like. So here, again, I have put a line at the top because I don't want to cut up to the top or it'll come apart. This time, I'm going to cut my warp in a fun zigzaggy way. And I can just do this free-handed. And don't forget when you're doing this that when you put the weft pieces in, you have to glue them or it'll all fall apart. Okay, so I'm just gonna do two different colors so you can see how this works. So again, I'm gonna pull up every other one. And let's put purple in. And I'm not gonna glue it this time, just sort of to do this more quickly so you can see. Okay, now what I would do is the ones that I didn't bend up, I'll bend those up. And then put another weft in here. And so you can see how it's starting to look like this. And that's how you do a zigzaggy. Now another one that you can do, same principle, is one that is curvy. So what I'd do for that one is I'd cut curves. And you can do it free-handed, doesn't have to be exact. And then you remember you never cut past that line you've made. And I would bend every other one. and put my weft in. So you get the idea. Let me just do one more so you can really see this. And remember also you would be gluing. I'm not gluing right now because I think you know how to do that. Okay, so now you can see that it's taking shape and it's looking like this one. And remember at the end, you would cut off the edges and you would glue. Now there's one more that is a pretty fancy one, and I'm going to use this to start it. This one has both a wobbly warp and a wobbly weft. Now the difference though with this weft is you really need to keep track of each of these because they've got to fit together like a puzzle. So let me take a piece of purple paper and I am going to, I'll do it so you can really see. I'm only going to do 3 for now because I think you'll get the idea. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to number these. So this is going to be 1. This is going to be 2, this is going to be 3, and this is going to be 4. And it's important that you number these because you got to know in which order they go. So I'm going to start cutting. So you can stay simple with the squares and the rectangles, or you can get really fancy. Whatever you want to do. Okay, so I've got 4 pieces, and they're numbered so I don't forget. And the numbers are not going to show. You're eventually going to cut those numbers off. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do, I've already bent this up. So I'm going to put my number 1 in, and I'm going to put my number 1 in this way so that it starts out straight to meet the top. Okay? Now I'm going to push this over, and I'm going to now fold these. And I'm going to take number 2, and I've got to match number 2 up exactly to the number 1. Okay, so you see, that's matched up exactly. Now I'm going to go back and you're going to have to sort of fold along the curve if you possibly can. Now I'm taking number 3, and you can see that I'm lining them up. So it's not like they're out here. I'm lining them up so they fit together perfectly. Okay, so now let me fold down again, fold down, and fold down. So now you can see how I'd make something like this. It's really important that you keep track of where you are, that you start out with a straight edge, and then you continue to wobble however you want, and you line them up perfectly. And the next one I would put in is the number 4. But then, of course, I would pick these up. Now, when you're at this point, or a little bit before, you would do your gluing and then trim the edges. So, pretty easy, huh? Okay, so that's basic paper weaving. Now, there's some other things you can do that are kind of fun. You can make crazy patterned paper and use it for your warp and your weft. And that's what I did here. So I've got my warp paper and I've got my weft paper. Another thing you can do is you can cut up old drawings or old paintings, and you can make the warp and the weft. Now in this case, what I did was, you can see that it doesn't go all the way to the end. So what I did was I cut this piece of paper in half, and then I cut this way and then wove it in. Okay, so now there's one more thing I want to show you, and that is that you can do all sorts of things with this. You could make a fish. You could weave a fish. Just decorate with some weaving. And I want to show you quickly how I did this one. This is pretty easy. It looks complicated, but it's easy. So I have a piece of white paper. And what I'm going to do with the white paper is I'm going to fold it in half the long way. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw the outline of a fish. And I'm going to cut this out. So I've got a fish. Get all this out of the way. A little different from this one. Now what I'm going to do, in order to get the weaving in here, I'm going to take the front of the fish and I'm going to fold it back. And I'm going by the center line to keep everything straight. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cut this way. So I'm going to cut, I'm going to cut, I'm going to cut, I'm going to cut, 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 and open it up. So now what I can do is I can feed pieces of thin paper through it. So I go under, and over, and under, feeding it through, whoops, and over, and under, and over, whoops, and under. And the next piece I do it the reverse. So the next piece, let's do a yellow one, I would go over, then under, then over, then under, then over, then under. And so you can see I can start weaving the fish. And then you can decorate it with other pieces of paper. And I put strips just going down the tail of the fish. Glue it on, and remember, you have to glue all of this together so it doesn't fall apart. So there are lots of different things you can do with this. You could make bookmarks. You could make placemats. You could make, whatever your imagination, wherever your imagination gets you, you can make that. So I hope you had fun today learning how to weave. And I look forward to seeing you next time. And for now, I want you to take care and be kind. Thanks for coming to visit me today. Bye-bye.